Hi everyone, welcome to another video brought to you by Math Icon Institute. In this video, we're discussing how to convert decimals to fraction. In our previous videos, we've learned how to convert fractions to decimals, and we learned that there are three types of decimals: the terminating, the non-terminating recurring, and the non-terminating non-recurring. And you saw how to convert fractions to the first two, that is fractions to terminating and fractions to non-terminating recurring. So we said for non-terminating non-recurring, they are not rational numbers. So no rational number will give a non-terminating non-recurring decimal. So in this video, we want to reverse the process. So we want to convert decimals back to what? To fractions. And we are starting from this point, from the fact that we have three types of decimals: the terminating, the non-terminating, recurring, and non-terminating non-recurring. So let's start from the third one, non-terminating non-recurring decimals. I've said repeatedly in previous videos that non-terminating non-recurring decimals are simply irrational numbers. That is, they were not gotten from fractions at all. They are irrational numbers. So when we speak of converting decimals to fractions, we do not mean non-terminating non-recurring decimals. So we mean one of these two. We mean either terminating decimals or non-terminating recurring decimals. So we mean any one of what? Any one of these two. So that means we have just two cases for converting from decimal to fraction. The case where the decimal is a terminating decimal and a non-terminating recurring decimals. Because non-terminating non-recurring can never give a fraction because they were never gotten from fraction initially. So in this video, we'll be limiting ourselves to converting terminating decimals to fractions. So in the next video, we'll try to discuss on terminating recurring decimals back to fractions. Sorry, we'll discuss on converting non-terminating recurring decimals back to fractions. As we said in the previous video, we mentioned that a terminating decimal is gotten when a fraction has a denominator which contains only 2 and 5 as its prime factors. You can remember that. Let's convert these decimals back to fractions. As you can see, they are terminating decimals. And then you can remember discussed how to convert, when we discussed how to convert, how to divide decimals, how to divide whole numbers by. I'm trying to remember the video I did. Okay, that's when we were trying to divide decimals by decimals. Can you remember that we mentioned that you can't divide decimals directly by decimals, right? That you have to convert the divisor, which is the denominator, to a whole number so you can divide. And we learned how to convert that decimal number to a whole number, right? So these terminating decimals, the easiest way to do them is to convert these numbers to whole numbers. For example, it is very easy to say to convert 0.45 to what? To a whole number. If you can remember, we said what we simply do is we check how many numbers the number has after decimal point. In this case, 0.45, it has two digits after decimal point. That means if you multiply by 100, what happens? That means it will give us a whole number. But we can't just multiply 0.45 by 100 and continue our solution. This way, we've altered the what? The question. Because we're given 0.45. In order not to alter the question, what should we do? Should multiply 0.45 by 100 and also divide it by 100. Remember we said if you have a fraction 1 over 2, then you said 1 times 3. You have actually changed the fraction. When you say 1 times 3 and then 2 times 3, fraction remains the same. So the point is multiply numerator and denominator by the same thing. So we want to do the same here. So 0.45 times 100 divided by 100. In this way, the fraction remains the same. But what we want to now do here is now multiply 0.45 times 100. Remember, when you want to multiply a number by a positive power of 10, what do? You simply move the zero decimal point to the right, depending on the number of zeros you have. You have two zeros in 100, right? Decimal point, move it to the right twice. So you have 1, 2, right? That's 45 over 100. It's not a fraction. Can you see? It's not a fraction. We can now reduce this fraction to its lowest term, right? We can divide by 5. 5 in 49 in 45 is 9. 5 in 100 is 20. 9 over 20. That's it in the lowest term. So 0.55 is actually 9 over 20. And you can see that 20 contains only 2's and 5's. Because 20 is 4 times 5. What's 4? 2 times 2, and then you have 5. For 0.12 also, so it has two numbers after decimal point. So what should we do? Multiply and divide by 100. Multiply and divide by 100. So decimal point to the right twice because 100 has two zeros. 1, 2. That's 12 over 100. Simplify finally. You can divide both by 4, right? 12 divided by 4 is 3. 100 divided by 4 is 25. So we have 3 over 25. So in its lowest term, this is the fraction in its lowest term, 3 over 25. The next one is 0.08. Also, 0.08 has two numbers after the decimal point. That means we have to multiply by 100. And so we do not want to alter the fraction. We have to divide by 100 also. Decimal point move to the right twice. Because 100 has two zeros, right? 1, 2. So you have 8 over 100. Remember we said the decimal point is now here. It's no longer after 0. It is now after 8. That means it's what? 8.0, which is 8 over 100. So its lowest term, you can divide by 4, right? 8 divided by 4 is 2. 100 divided by 4 is 25. 2 over 25. Next question, 0.125. It has three figures after decimal point. Right? Three digits after decimal point. That means you have to multiply by 1,000. 0.125 times 1,000. In order not to alter the fraction, what do? You have to divide by 1,000 also. So the point is multiply and divide by that same power of 10 that you are using. So you are multiplying, move the decimal point to the right. How many times? 3 times, because 1,000 has 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. The decimal point is now after 5. So it's now a whole number. 1, 2, 5 over 1,000. So this is the lowest term. Can divide by 5, right? By 25, even by 25. 125 divided by 25 is simply 5. 1,000 over 25. That should be 4. That's 40. You can divide by 5. 5 divided by 5, 1. What's divided by 5? You have 8. It's only in its lowest term. The next fraction, next decimal, 0.04. Oh, it is 0.04. So it has 3 digits after decimal point. That means multiply by 1,000 and also divide by 1,000. That's not to alter the number. For the numerator, move the decimal point to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It's now a whole number. You now have 4 over 1,000. So you divide 4 divided by 4, 1. 1,000 divided by 4. That's 250. You now have 1 over 250. That's just in the lowest term, a fraction. Next decimal, 0.625 also has 3 numbers after decimal point. So multiply by what? By 1,000 to make it a whole number. But we do not want to alter the number, so we have to divide by 1,000 also. In that way, the number remains the same. I'm not changing it, right? So let's proceed. So decimal point is to move to the right 3 times. Because 1,000 has 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Decimal point is now here. It's now a whole number. 625 over 1000. Let's divide by 25, right? 625 over 25 is 25. 1000 divided by 25 is 40, right? Then you can divide by 5 also. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 5 over 8. That's it in its lowest term. And then finally, 0 0.125. 0.125. Convert it to a whole number. How do we do that? Multiply by 1000 because it has three numbers after decimal point. So that means if we multiply by 1000 to give us a whole number. But we can't just do this and proceed because we actually changed the question. So we know what to alter that number. How to divide by this same 1000. That's the principle we've always mentioned. For a number or for a fraction, if you do not want to alter a fraction, multiply and divide by the same number. That way, the number or the fraction remains the same. Even though it might seem like it's not a different number, but effectively it's still the same number. For example, if you have 2 over 3, multiply this by 2, multiply this by 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6. You might say 2 over 3 and 4 over 6 are different. They might actually be different, but they are the same. Let's see. Let's reduce this back to its original form. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. You can see it's now in its original form. So when we say multiply the number and divide it by the same number, or with a fraction, multiply numerator and multiply numerator by the same number. They're actually the same. Number will remain the same that way. So yeah, decimal point is to move to the right 3 times because 1000 has 3 zeros. So we have 1, 2, 3. It's now a whole number. 125 over 1000. What next? Let's simplify to its lowest term, right? So you can divide by 5. 125 over 5 is 25. 1000 over 5 is 200. 25 divided by 5, that is 5. 200 over 5, that's 40. Then 5 here 1. 5 in 40 is 8. So the final answer is now 1 over 8. So we've been able to simplify this fraction to its lowest term. So you can see how we've actually converted these decimals from then being decimals to fractions. I can see they are terminating decimals. So in the next video, we'll learn how to convert non-terminating recurring decimals back to fractions. So this is our last question for this video. 3.125. I later saw that we repeated this decimal. So I actually meant to write 3.125 there, not 0.125. So this also, it has three numbers after decimal point. So what do? We multiply by 1000 to convert it to a whole number. But we do not want to alter the number. What do? Divide by 1000 also. This is now equal to, so I'm multiplying by 1000. That's 3 zeros. Move decimal point to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. It is now here. It's now a whole number. We now have 3125 divided by what? 1000. So when we learn the divisibility rule of 5, we learn that any number that ends in 0 or 5 is actually divisible by 5, right? So that's why 10, 100, 1000, they are always divisible by 5 because they end in what? In 0. And also this number, 3125, is also divisible by 5 because it ends in what? In 5. So let's divide by 5. So 5 here is 625. 5 in 1000 is 200. Can proceed. 625 divided by 5 is 125. 200 divided by 5 is 40. Can proceed. 125 divided by 5 is 25. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So the fraction in its lowest term is now 25 over 8. Thank you.